Problem number 11, I'm given the equation y equals log base of 4 of quantity x plus 1. So the first thing that we're actually doing in part A is to graph this and make sure we plot and label at least 2 points on the graph. So let's walk through the steps of graphing this log. First thing we want to do is to put this in exponential form. So that would mean base of 4 raised to y equal to, I don't really need these parentheses. It's just equal to x plus 1. So now we want to take the inverse, find the inverse of this, which would be, we swap the x and y positions. So we get 4 to the x equal to y plus 1. And solve for y, and when we do, we end up with 4x minus 1 equal to y. Now I can rewrite this. Okay, so now I'm going to remember this is the inverse, so I'm going to graph this. I'm going to graph this on a separate coordinate plane. And to find the values of my graph, find the values of coordinate points, I'll just pick some x values and it'll give me the y values. So let's start with, let's say 0. So if I plug in 0 into my equation here, 4 raised to the 0, anything raised to 0 is 1. 1 minus 1 will give me a y value of 0. So that's right here. Next, let's choose positive 1. So when I plug in positive 1, let's see, 4 raised to 1, 4 minus, so I get a 3 for my y value. So actually, let me add some tick marks. So this would be 1, 2, 3. Let me make these a little, space these out a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. All right, so 1 comma 3 is here. So let me go in the other direction and pick negative 1. And this time I get a negative 0.75 for y. So that's here. Alright, so negative 1.75, that's right around here. And let's do one more on this left side of the y-axis. That'll be negative 2. And I end up with negative 0.9375. Right. So that's very close to negative 1, but it doesn't touch it. So it looks like negative 1 will be like it's approaching negative 1, this graph is, but it's not going to touch it. So let me go ahead and sketch in what my graph will look like with these points. I have something like this, and then going in this direction. See if I can get this to something like this. All right. So now this is the inverse, and what I can do is use these points here to graph the to plot points to give me the graph of the original equation that we started with. So and I just want to visually, once I graph the original equation, you'll be able to visually compare the two to see what the inverse, what the graphs look like. But really all I needed was these X and Y points. So let's go ahead and, if I look at, take a chart here, and the points that I want will come from here. I just reverse the X and Y, 0, 0. That goes right here. Then 3, 1. Let's see, that's 3, 1. That goes here. Then negative 0.75, negative 1. That's, let me get a sharper pen. It goes here, negative 0.75, negative 1. Let me see. And that's roughly here. All right, then let's see. This is negative 0.9375, and what, negative 2. So that's here. Okay, so let's fill this in, and that should be going in this direction, in this direction, something like this. All right, so here's our graph of y equals log base 4 of quantity x plus 1, and we need to make sure that we label at least 2 points. So let's label, this one's 3, 1, here, and then 0, 0, which is there. So there's your graph.